Now, for this hour, we start with President Trump. President Donald Trump is heading to Davos for World Economic Forum, where tensions are high over his controversial push to acquire Greenland from Denmark. Ahead of his arrival, Trump has mocked European leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, who strongly criticized Trump's aggressive tactics. The dispute revolves around the strategic value of Greenland, which Trump argues is key to U.S. security against Russia and China. European leaders have united against Trump's actions, with Macron warning against U.S. attempts to dominate Europe and threatening countermeasures to tariff threats. Meanwhile, Canada has backed Denmark and Greenland, calling for support and solidarity. Trump's upcoming speech at Davos will center on the U.S. economy, but the escalating Greenland issue is expected to dominate discussions and shape his interactions with European leaders. Let's hear what U.S. President Donald Trump has shared before heading to World Economic Forum.
Going to Davos, I believe it'll be very successful, the trip. The country's never done better. We have $18 trillion plus coming in. We've never had anything like it, and no country has had anything like it. Prices are way down. Gasoline now is $1.99 in a lot of places. And frankly, nobody's seen anything like this. So it's really good. But this will be an interesting trip. I have no idea what's going to happen, but you are well represented.
Now, for this discussion, we welcome Mr. John Rossomando. He's a president of Viking Research Associates and geopolitical analyst, joins us live from Washington, D.C. Thank you very much, Mr. Rossomando, for joining us. Now, looking at this, how do you analyze, the current relationship as now President Trump heads to World Economic Forum? How do you think, how do you analyze the current relationship of U.S. with your traditional European allies?
Well, I think that President Trump is a very different individual. I mean, he's somebody who thinks that unless he takes action, the Europeans are just going to sit around. They haven't done anything to really arm themselves against the Russians. There's a view among pro-Trump allies in Washington that Denmark has done next to nothing to deter the threats from China and Russia. A recent Danish intelligence report corroborates President Trump's concern, saying that increased threats by Russia and China against Greenland are on the rise. But the Danish military and Danish state is too weak to do anything about it.
Right. And what do you think that Trump's threats about or alarms about Greenland or threats about acquiring Greenland has done to Denmark? Do you think they are more alert and they see the value in protecting Greenland, or what do you think this has changed the trajectory of how they like you said, they didn't really protect Greenland, they didn't do anything about it. Do you think this has President Trump has or has not changed the trajectory about it?
Well, he hasn't changed the trajectory yet. I think the thing is that he believes that having American sovereignty over Greenland will mean that the United States will be able to interdict Chinese and Russian shipping into the strategic Greenland, Iceland, UK gap in a way that it can't with Denmark, nominally controlling the territory.
And do you think that President Trump starting to eye Greenland, did it open a rift or start a rift between Europe and NATO, specifically NATO and US, or do you think there was always problems? It was just shoved under the rug, and this has kind of exposed those?
Well, I mean, there's always been ruffles between President Trump and the leaders of Western Europe, who he's always viewed as basically sucking off of America and not contributing anything. I mean, the European economies have grown strong and rich because they haven't had to have a major, defense push since the end of the Cold War. They've depended on the United States. So that's the tension.
And what do you think, what can NATO countries and the allies who are openly supporting the sovereignty of Greenland and Denmark, especially in World Economic Forum, how will the interaction look like with U.S. President Trump, and what are you expecting? What cards do they actually have to play?
Well, I think that what they'll just do is try to stall and prevent a sale of Greenland to the United States. I mean, because they believe in sticking it to President Trump. I mean, look at Canada. Canada just signed a major agreement with China that is a threat to American sovereignty and national interests. So, I mean, for Prime Minister Mark Carney to be critical of President Trump's concern about China and Greenland is just kind of hypocritical.
Thank you very much, Mr. Rossomando, for sharing that. Please stay with us as we stay on this news now. Now we stay on this news. At the World Economic Forum in Davos, Canadian Prime Minister